Alright, gang. I've been wanting to do this for several days now, and a video popped up from a channel I've been paying attention to. It's called Overly Sarcastic. I think it's like history or something like that. Uh, or overly sarcastic. But whatever it is, there's uh, there's two. There's red and blue. Now, red does the uh, historical thing, and then there's blue who gets into more social matters, and one of the things is called trope talk. And so I've been wanting to address some of the stuff because I like how she puts it. I think she does a good job. Uh, Blue does, and red does a good job on the history. Uh, and actually, both red actually points out several things that many of the channels that pop up on YouTube addressing history uh, uh, either don't mention or leave out or probably ignorant of it, or they chose to leave it out. Uh, Anyways, blues trope talk. That's something that I wanted to do a video on, not on trope talk or blue, but along lines of trope. Uh, and one of the ones that I just saw, and it's an older video. They've been around for quite a while, I guess, some years now. But it was on evil empires, and I actually wrote a comment about how I. She said, no, there are no real evil empires. But the thing is there actually is, and it's my firm belief through my exhaustive years of looking over the history of the United States, as well as listening to people who actually have had experience, like Michael Hudson, which I did a video on recently, uh, as well as Naomi Klein's shock. Disaster capitalism. Then there's the shock doctrine and all sorts of other stuff. So it all compiles down to that and many others, uh, along with seeing what MSNBC and CNN and Fox and Breitbart and the Daily Caller and the Daily Wire and all these, uh, as well as what Kyle Kalinske, Jimmy Dore, what Al Jazeera, what CGNT, what France 24, what RT. I The Guardian, the Atlantic, you name it. I try to keep track of a lot of it, and I've been able to weed out between that and doing research online, uh, as well as looking into the books, like the two I talked about, I mentioned. So I've put together a fairly good, I think, a fairly good understanding of what's happening and what's taking place. And so I argue that the U.S. is an evil empire. And I'm not, when I say the U.S., and I always make this, I always try to make this point. I'm not talking about the actual people, uh, as that would be being too hyperbolic, but those who have always gravitated towards influence and power and money, who always always are the ones who hold the political and official and business and other levers of control, and their intentions and ideology make it so that there is no other way you cannot look at how the U.S. is as anything other than an evil empire. I mean, they from what I from what I, the U.S. actually is worse than the British. When the British had an empire, the U.S. is worse than when the French and the Spanish and the Portuguese and the Dutch, they're worse than India, and just not even the Mongolians. The level of or the Japanese for that matter, the level of things that the U.S. has done. If you are willing to look into it, and if you are not closed off and partisan and this idea of patriotism, which is mostly fake and without any actual thought, and it's based on an emotional and being force fed ignorance and propaganda and misdirection, deceit and deception, and or if you're not just concerned about just having your own immediate security, or being or have being insular, in that you're worry of your lack of money and lack of basic necessities and all that stuff. But the thing is, I make a point on my videos. I always say that if we do not try to inform ourselves, all we're doing is bleeding. And then what you're doing is framing it so that when you have kids, they're going to be bled even more. And they're going to be put in a worse situation. And I think many of us know for the over 40 years now, it's been demonstrably demonstrated that that's the case. The level of education, of knowing, of self-reliance that betters our community has gone downhill and hit the scum at the bottom of the barrel. It's hard not to argue that. Anyways, so Blue on Trope Talk was talking about evil empires, and as I said, and I basically said the U.S. It is my belief that the U.S. is an evil empire. But and she covers a lot on that Trope Talk about evil empires. But one thing that she and she does often cover about anime is that there is a very unique anime that was put out. It's Akami Gla Kill, and that's a very unique anime, because most of the evil empire trope is filled with you got one or two or a few that do all, that they have either superpowers or they have this or that, and that's completely and utterly unrealistic. A comic Glock Kill is totally different because there's a group, but and they're basically assassins who are going after the completely and utterly deranged criminals. Whom, by the way, if you watch a comic Glock Kill, you'll see parallels to what Trump, what Nancy Pelosi, what Chuck Schumer, what Mitch McConnell, and what Bill Barr and uh, and Steve Mnuchin and all. It's like it's not even a parody. It's basically you can actually make connections. And you're like, oh wow, that's so. Uh, so these people are basically assassins, and there's a young man who thinks he's from a rural village, which is being so heavily taxed that people can't keep their crops, can't get the money, can't do anything, and so he and two others left to go to the capital and make a name for themselves and make money and send it back to the village. Two of the people that he was with, they end up getting separated. He later finds out that they've been killed by the one of the nobility of the empire's capital, and he ends up running into the assassins who are actually fighting the empire, who have been specifically uh, given targets to take out the most corrupt and evil, and how they're connected to a larger organized movement, and how they also been working to find those who are in the government but who see the corruption and and can't stand it anymore, uh, and they want to bring some sanity and some law and equality back, and or who have been victimized and oppressed by the other rulers and disadvantaged. So this is unique because they're not like a lot of these evil empire things, even in the cartoons like Justice League and Batman. It's not just a few, whether they have superpowers or they have money and they have these fancy things, but they're basically working within the system that's which is corrupt, and they're making semantic differences, and so a comic Glock Hill is phenomenal because it's talking about how you can't just take like how we constantly do. You hear, oh, it's Trump that did this, or it's this Trump, 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 or Obama, 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 or Clinton, 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 or what it never comes down to like I constantly I made a point on several of my videos, like one person cannot do all that, cannot operate an evil empire on their own. You need even an organized crime mafia. It's not one person they need the backing of others that are willing to do it because they're looking to find position and place. So the whole idea that a single person is responsible for all the evil and all the bad that happens uh, is just ridiculous. In Saudi Arabia, the prince up there in there can't do without some backing. Even in this country, you need the media to do the propaganda, to do the misdirections, you need people in colleges, the quote unquote experts to spew disinformation. You need people in the House, in, in the House of Representatives. You need people in the Senate. You need police chiefs. You need mayors. You need councilmen. You need governors. You need House legislators in the states, in the individual states. You need all of that. You need the people like the Kochs. You need people like Robert Mercer. You need people like Steve Mnuchin. You need people like Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar. You need people like Gavin Newsom in California. You need the Andrew Cuomo. And you need, and they must at least have a basic common goal, and that goal is control. And you must be willing to sacrifice whatever ethics or morals or principles you have to achieve that basic code of control. And so it's never one person. One person can't do it. You need them. You need you need people in the upper echelons of the military. Even the ones that are down to the level of corporals and sergeants. You need this. You need pencil pushers, and you need who have specialized positions to. You need all of this. This is why you build agencies and all of this stuff, so that, and you place them with people that have that are given legitimacy to control. So Akami Glaucil addresses all of this and addresses the inequities and the obscenities and the absurdities and the atrocities that happens within an evil empire. And it's become one of my favorite TV series, anime series, because there's reality in it. And one thing that Akami Glaucil makes a point of pointing out is that they're not going after the average citizen. They're going after the ones who are perpetrating the greatest crimes, the highest criminals, the ones that have legitimacy, the ones who are using every form to keep that idea of legitimacy, of being public servants, or leaders, and when in fact that's not the case, and they'll use violence, they'll use everything to keep control, and so that's no matter that there's magic involved and some other fantastical stuff that doesn't happen, but the base is that there is a base of realism and understanding that you cannot take down an evil empire, and you cannot run an evil empire with a small group. You can't fight an evil empire with a small number of people. Even if you are superpowered, you cannot run an evil empire as a single person or even a small group. It just isn't possible. So that's what I was trying to do this video, because it meshes in with what I've been trying to talk about, what I've been reiterating over and over on my videos, as well as showing you alternatives as to how we can take control of our own collective existences, and and try to turn it from existence to life, and work towards actually living and building a better existence for a pathway, a roadway to life. All right, thanks.